Welcome to New Life Live with Stephen Arterburn. For 35 years, New Life has been transforming lives one at a time thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's today's host, Becky Brown.
Hello, everybody. I'm so glad that you joined us today, and we're going to take calls for the next 2 hours. 1-800-229-3000 is the number you can call. And by us, I mean Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris and Chris Williams. Hello.
Hello.
How are you guys?
We're doing good.
Doing good.
Well, that's good. That is really good. And that means that you're going to be able to help so many people because you're doing good. So if you have some struggles, you might need to call us. 1-800-229-3000. You know, one of the things that we talk about here a lot is recovery. You hear us talk about life recovery and the importance of doing your work. And one of the steps, step 4, talks about taking an accountability of where you've wronged somebody or where you've been wronged and actually putting it to the paper. But, you know, that's a really hard step for a lot of people to take. And I just am curious, what have you guys heard or experienced when you have opposition to doing step 4?
Well, step 4, honestly, is where most people put the brakes on very, like them, you slam the brakes, everything comes to a halting stop. Because it is, I think, the most important, but the hardest work. My line is this. If the devil's in the details, so is God, so you might as well get in the details, right?
I love it.
And what step 4 does, a moral inventory, and it leads us into steps 5, 6, and 7, is there is very specific and detailed character assets or character liabilities, i.e. sins, malice, rage, envy. We can see these things in Scripture talked about all the time, but very rarely do we put a mirror up with these characteristics and ask the hard question, where and how are these activating in our lives, and what in the world do we do with them?
So true.
Yeah, I usually, I've had great experience with that. The people who I've worked with have, by the time they've gotten to me and they're doing their steps, they're fully in. And so it's been interesting to watch how healing that step really is.
Yes.
When they can hold that mirror up and acknowledge it, you see the true commitment to the growth and the change and the healing when they can come to that 4th step and say, okay, oh wow, I got to fix that.
Yeah.
And a lot of conversations have been, do you think I should contact them? Or how should I talk to them about that? What if they don't want to talk to me? What if we're doing this for you?
Yeah.
So whether they connect with you or not on it, this is your job, your task to get it out of you, get it out of your head, out of your body, and onto paper so you can see you.
And what does happen after they get it on paper? I mean, what is that next part of step 4?
Well, you now have the raw material for transformation. You can't change what you can't see. You can't change what you can't own. And so when you can see it and own it, then you can do something with it. Yeah. So ironically, it gives a person the gift of moral agency, meaning that I had zero idea. I shouldn't say zero. I had very little idea how much of my life was being absolutely ruled and governed by fear before my 4th step. And then I'm like, oh, the whole thing is. So now I need to go start doing the work on fear and all of the negative things it produces in my life. I can now do something with it because I can see it.
Well, and I know you both brought up the subject of helping people in that step. And, you know, we have life recovery coaches, we have counselors, and obviously we have 12-step groups that, you know, can be part of that process. Sponsors are a very important part of that process. We don't want you to do it alone. And that's not what recovery is about. Recovery is about connection, and there's healing in that. We are here to connect with you today. So give us a call, whether it's about recovery or anything. You can call us 1-800-229-3000. We've got some calls, but we've also got some room for you. Call us.
Are our marriage was just so toxic and just so many simple interactions that turned into conflict. And so we signed up to participate in the workshop.
This is Steve Arterburn. Our Intimacy in Marriage workshop examines the various types of intimacy, spiritual, emotional, and physical, as well as the challenges of experiencing true intimacy.
The tools that we received from the Intimacy in Marriage workshop were tremendous. It was so much that we were able to take and utilize and actually come back and apply.
Don't settle for a miserable marriage or even one that's just okay. It's possible to have that great marriage you always want.
The next Intimacy in Marriage workshop is October 20th to the 23rd in Dallas, Texas. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more or go to newlife.com. 1-800-639-5433.
Best decision we could have ever made. There's no price that we can put on having healthy marriages.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. As part of Life Recovery, we are going to have the Life Recovery Connection Conference. It's online October 7th, and you can join us. You can bring your group with you. And, it can be either you've been in recovery for a while, maybe you're curious about recovery, but it's going to be a great day with both of you, Chris and Jacqui, and myself and Steve and a few others that will be sharing so much really incredible work in recovery. So sign up at newlife.com. We are going to go to the calls, and we have a call from Mickey, who's calling us from Charlotte, North Carolina, watches us on YouTube. Hi, Mickey. Thanks for calling. How can we help you today?
Hello. Good afternoon. How are y'all?
Doing well.
Good. I got to 18. So Becky, this just actually happened within the last 8 or 9 hours. A close girlfriend of mine for several years. We've been friends since the 6th grade. She just dealt a horrible blow with the passing of her cousin. She had 2 male cousins. One is already in hospice due to cancer, but his brother got ill in the past couple of days. He went in the hospital, developed blood clots, and he died overnight. So she is angry with God. And we up texting about 3, 4 o'clock in the morning because I think he passed a little after 1 a.m. And I'm just like, God, what do I say to her? Because she's always been a strong woman of God, and this is the first time I've ever seen her faith be tested. And I try to tell her, please don't lose your faith. Please don't. But I'm asking the Holy Spirit, help me, because I could just the devastation. So that's why I was like, I'm just going to call New Life tomorrow just to get some guidance.
Well, we're glad that you did call, Mickey. Grief is such a difficult thing, but we all go through it. Chris and Jacqui, how do we want to start to help Mickey so she can help someone else in pain?
Well, Mickey, thank you so much for your call. And I love your concern for your friend, your honoring of your friend. But let me start here. We as human beings do not do a good job, or we cannot handle people being angry at us. We make the mistake that God is the same as us. God is okay with our anger. He's even okay with our misguided anger. And in fact, when we take our anger and we take it to God, we at least take it in the right direction, because his ego and his well-being is not as fragile as ours. He's really, really secure. And we can start seeing this throughout Scripture. We see the protests of Job, and he was still faithful. We see the protests of Jesus. We see the protests of the psalmist saying that something is painful and it's hard and it's difficult. If you would read Psalm 88, it's almost shocking, how God is being called out in the midst of the pain and the hurt and the anger that writer is expressing. And I mention all of this because God understands it is a human experience. And if we take it to him, he can do something with it. I would say she's as strong in her faith today, even if she doesn't feel it, she's as strong as her faith today as she ever was. And so apathy would be the thing I would be be more concerned about than anger. Now, it's friends who respond. Job's friends give us a good roadmap. Job's friends, the first 7 days of Job's deep, deep devastation and grief, were just simply present with him. They didn't say anything. Yeah. They got into trouble when they tried to manage his anger and give explanation to it. When they opened their mouths, most likely because of their own discomfort with his grief. The best thing that we can do for the people grieving around us is offer a safe presence, and our presence will be way more powerful than our words.
So that means that you're going to have to do some good self-care for you if you want to be that presence, because you're just holding space. She can vent all she needs to. She can cry. She can be angry with God. And as Chris said, God's a big boy. He can totally handle this. And there are lots of examples of God showing us that in the Word. You know, my brother's, he's been in the grave for 3 days. Where were you? You call yourself his friend, right? Like, so God is showing us that he can handle that and respond to it in a way that is healing and life-giving, because she's so safe because of her strong faith. She's so safe with God that she can be angry with him right now. There's nothing that can take her out of his hand. And so right now she just gets permission to feel this anger and this disappointment and this disgust and whatever else is going on inside of her. What she needs is permission to be what she is right now and feel what she's feeling right now, and to not have to be the strong friend. You know, sometimes we have to check on our strong friends because they won't tell us they're suffering because we can't handle it.
That's good, Jacqui, yeah.
And so it's so uncomfortable to be with her in her pain and want to help make it better, but you make it better just by being there with her.
Well, and I was going to say too, Mickey, you're feeling the shock that she's feeling. Yeah. It's like, you know, this explosion goes off and there's ripple effects. And you're shocked because of her questioning God, but also because of what's happened. It's, you know, it's very distressing. And so I love what you just said, Jacqui, about, you know, your own self-care, Mickey, is going to be the first step, because it's difficult to sit with that pain. Did this help you, Mickey? Do you have a little bit better direction as you go back to your friend?
Yes, it does, because, you know, it was really tough to hear that, because a few, what's this month, September, last month, within a 24-hour period, my aunt passed away along with a good friend within 24 hours. So it was just kind of like a replay of that. So just like trying to stay strong for her, but I'm also still trying to heal.
And being strong for her means also being vulnerable and transparent. The fact that you've gone through something similar, the two of you can be in that together. You don't have to be strong for her. You just have to be honest. When you're hurting, you're hurting. When she's hurting, she's hurting. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's, you know, be angry and sin not. Like, let's not go out and abuse people because we're angry and we're hurt. And that's not what she's doing. She's actually taking it in the right direction to the right person. And I agree with what Becky said. It re-triggered you, your grief. And you know, may have felt very, you know, comfortable with how you were progressing through grief. And then this happens and it brings you back again. And so I would also give yourself permission to let yourself feel whatever the feelings are that comes up for you around this, around how much this is hurting your friend, around how quickly that happened and how shocking it is. And the long-term grief, the perpetual grief of someone being on hospice. There's a lot going on there, and you guys deserve to have permission and space to be in your emotions. You know, we get told don't get in your feelings. That's somebody saying, I can't handle you having emotions that I didn't choose, so I'm going to need you to stop. And we just aren't doing that anymore. It doesn't work.
Well, Mickey, we'll be praying for you and for your friend. I'm going to send you a copy of the Life Recovery Workbook on grief. You know, sometimes we want to fix it, like you just said, Jacqui, because we don't like to feel. And grief is an expression of love, actually. When you think about the loss and the connection that you had with these folks, and then when somebody else experiences that loss, you know what that feels like. The last thing you want to say to her, though, Mickey, is I know how you feel. You just, because that's, it is your feeling, but it's not the same. And I think that's the thing that we get into trouble sometimes, right?
Yep.
With grief, it's like we want to help, so we say, I know exactly how you feel. And then the person who's going through the grieving, they feel like I got to defend myself, and not, you don't know how I feel. It's really better to say, tell me more. Tell me more. How do you feel? And I'm here for you. We're so glad that you called, Mickey. And it's, that's a tough situation. So much loss. We're going to go to Cynthia, who's calling us from Dallas and listens on KWRD. And we are so glad you called. Cynthia, how can we help you today?
Hi. I called last week, and I did sign up for the workshop that's, I believe, on the 6th or the 7th, one of the two.
Great.
And my question is about boundaries. My ex-husband and I are trying to reconcile, and he has an addiction to crack cocaine. I can tell when he's used, and he hadn't used for a while, and then he did use, and then he did tell me that he did. And I have allowed him to stay over here at the home because of some situations that's going on at his family home. And so I just wanted to know, in trying to reconcile, what should my boundaries be?
Great question, Cynthia. Perfect timing, too. Jacqui or Chris, how can we help Cynthia make this important decision?
Well, Cynthia, I have a question. He's back at the home. You guys are trying to reconcile. Did you guys were in a separation period? And
no, we are divorced.
Okay.
And
so you're considering reconnecting and reconciling. What is making you make that decision?
Well, I really didn't want to file the divorce in the first place. I did it because of the fact that he was using, and I needed some, peace, and just in myself, to say, okay, this is not right. And I didn't know if it would change him to try to do better. I think it did, because he did go to rehab. He's been there twice, different places. And but ultimately, I didn't think that was what God's will was for us to be in a marriage and him using.
Right. And so now here he's back. And the question of boundaries, I think you have to listen to your body. And that you're asking about boundaries says to me that there's something that feels off, like you've led him in too far too soon. But Chris, I'm curious, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are this: if he was not your ex-husband and he was just a guy, would you date him?
Yep, right. It's exactly what I was thinking, Cynthia.
That's a good question.
Yes, it is.
Would I date him if he was not my ex-husband? By me knowing him, I think I would. I've known him since the 3rd grade, but of course people change. But just by knowing him, he's a great person, but he's had this issue. Okay,
so let me jump in here with this. Okay, so Cynthia, I am so glad that you're going to our Life Recovery Conference, and I think a better question is, why am I not in Al-Anon right now? Because you have adapted to an addictive system, an addictive way of living. The problem with addiction is that he's struggling, what we call a substance abuse, and I wrote down stimulant. This is really, really powerful. Cocaine, these types of stimulants, and what they demand is full and total allegiance. There is not both and. There is an either or, either the cocaine or anything else. And the cocaine wins every time. It's undefeated. That's why we call this thing powerlessness. And so what I would not, the boundaries exist to protect that which is valuable. Now, when we live in addiction ourselves or with addicted people, our value gets gutted. We don't believe that we're valuable anymore, that our heart is worth it and worthy and lovable. And so in the construction of boundaries is to recover my value, in which we lay down different demands. It's either me or the cocaine. It's not an either or anymore. Or it's not a both and anymore. And so what that looks like for him is a deep dive and daily engagement in recovery, hard stop.
That's right. Well, and Cynthia, hold on. We have some music playing. That means we have a hard stop to go to a break, but we're going to be back to help you with this very important decision. I love that phrase that the drug demands total allegiance.
And it's
Isn't
undefeated.
that interesting? Undefeated. Wow. It just speaks to the power of addiction, whether it is drug or behavior. It requires our all, and that means that other people in our life don't get any or a little bit. We'll be right back taking your calls.
My girlfriends and I have been searching for so long to try to find an event to attend.
Lumina is a new women's conference designed to inspire your faith so you can lead and live confidently from God's Word.
It was nice to come here and just realign myself with who God says He is in my life.
The Lumina Conference is a 2-day experience. 1 full day of worship and teaching in Museum of the Bible's World Stage Theater, and a half-day guided tour through Museum of the Bible.
You are literally immersed in the Word of God. You can walk through the Old Testament. You can walk through the New Testament.
Lumina is for women of all generations, cultures, and denominations. It's a great place to gather with women from your church and community.
If you want some fellowship and you want to be strengthened, this is the place you want to be.
This year's Lumina Conference is October 27th and 28th in Washington, D.C.
It was absolutely life-changing.
For more information, go to luminawomen.org.
I have given to New Life regularly because I have so many people that I am referring to New Life who so benefit from the ministry. I just can't imagine what would happen in my area if New Life wasn't available to us.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of all 8 100-day devotionals, including 100 Days of Prayer, 100 Days of Freedom from Depression, and 100 Days of Peace. There are also ongoing benefits like the monthly Club New Life CD or download, access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, discounts on workshops, and quarterly online meetings with Steve. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We are continuing to take your calls at 1-800-229-3000, but we were talking with Cynthia. We're still talking to Cynthia about this big decision about reconciling, remarriage to her former husband, who is still in active addiction. And so, Jacqui or Chris, how do we want to proceed? How can we help Cynthia make this decision in the best way possible?
Well, Cynthia, what you heard Chris say about the drug, what did that do for you?
You know, during the break, I thought on that question that, again, if he husband or whatever, would I date him or anything? Really thinking about that, I don't think I would.
Right, because we're not talking about this nice guy he's been all these years and the good man that he actually is underneath the addiction. We're talking about you on an app meeting this person, and this is who shows up. You're going to say, no, thank you.
I would say, yes, I think I would. I would think I would say, no, thank you. And especially if knowing what I know now about the drug and what it does to a person. See, I had no clue about it.
Yep.
You know.
So there's your boundaries.
Yeah, but,
right?
Yeah,
like I cannot do this. I won't do this. And Al-Anon for yourself, you the recovery process for yourself, I think, is going to help you get through the grief of having to go through this again. Because as you start to open your heart back up to him, he relapses.
Mm-hmm.
And it, as Chris said, you're in the system of addiction, just like he is. Even though you divorced him, this is still the cycle. We fight. The divorce was just you pushing the nuclear button, and it did not change the situation. Here we still are, even though we're divorced. He's in the home, and he's still using, and you're still now questioning, what am I supposed to do?
Do you know one of the significant things, Cynthia, about you taking time to just ponder that question is that time is a boundary. We don't consider it as a boundary. We think of the no as being the boundary or the choice as being the boundary. But when we can just take a minute, and you literally took a minute, and you were like, no, I wouldn't date him. Like, what am I thinking? But I think when we get into routines, we don't take time to think what would be a better decision. We're not here to tell you what to do, but you asked, and I think that you have some insight. Chris, do you have anything else that you want to offer to Cynthia?
Yeah, I would just say, simply but difficultly, it is putting the brakes on the relationship. I think getting yourself into some more of your own personal recovery, but also you need time to see if he's serious about his own recovery. Because if this has been going on for him for as long as it has, he really does need to be engaged in consistent, even daily types of recovery work and recovery community. Because and I'm with you, Cynthia. I am heartbroken because he sounds like such a wonderful guy. I know he is. And this is the pain of addiction, is it just takes away all of that goodness.
And he was able to be honest with you and say that he was using again.
Yes.
So he one of the things that frustrates me in couples therapy is that the partner takes the choice away for the other person. He was open with you, giving you the choice to say, I don't want this.
Absolutely. I concur.
Do you know the other part of this too, Cynthia, is that you also need time for healing to make a good choice. Like, there's no rush. You've already divorced. So, and maybe there's some separation that needs to happen. You said he's living in the house, and there are extenuating circumstances always. We can always make the story work for us, but it's not in our best interest going forward. And we don't want you to go back in thinking that this is going to be different than the previous time. And thinking, I'm going to make this big line in the sand and he's going to respond in a way that's healthy. And I agree with you, Chris, that it's sad because this is what addiction does. It takes away people. We are going to send you.
I really appreciate it.
Well, we're glad you called.
Thank you.
We're going to send you a copy of the Life Recovery Bible, which has some great insights, but we're going to get you connected, Cynthia, with a Life Recovery group on codependency, and, maybe check into an Al-Anon group as well. We've got to continue to do that healing. We're going to continue taking calls, and we are taking calls at 1-800-229-3000. Right now, we're going to talk to Maria, who's calling us from Woodbury, New Jersey, listens on Sirius XM. Hello, Maria. How can we help you today?
I just wanted to ask a question. I've had custody of my nephew for probably the last 4 years. I have been in his life since he was 6 months. Mother was killed in a car accident 2 years ago. And so I've been in his life for a very long time. The difficulty is that he's getting high, he's stealing, he's doesn't want to go to church. That was my first thing. He won't work. He had a job and he quit. And I just told him, I said, when you turn 18, then you need to decide what you need to do, because going to church is not an option in my house. Am I wrong for doing this? And he's been in counseling for 2 years and he refuses to go back to counseling, Christian counseling also.
All right. Well, Maria, you can hear the music. We got to go to a break, but that's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. We'll consider, and we will give you some direction going. And how old is he, Maria, right now?
17. He'll be 18 in December.
Okay. All right. Very good. Good information. It's tough. we'll help you get some next steps in line. We'll be right back after this.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit its addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. Yes, we are taking your calls at 1-800-229-3000. And whatever is your struggle, we can get you started in the right direction. Right now, we are talking with Maria, who has so valiantly taken in her nephew. What a tragic story. There's more to that. He's now 17 and challenges have arisen. Maria, is there anything else that you want us to know before we jump into responding?
And he's smoking weed. It's just a whole slew of things. And I have custody. I have a 14-year-old adopted son that's watching all of this.
Okay. All right. Is he also a family member from this same family? Yes. Or okay. So it's the sibling.
No. Oh. No. He's not a sibling or anything. No.
Okay. So there's a lot going on. All right, Chris, Jacqui, how can we get started in a new way?
So Maria, the fear is that he is being irresponsible and he's not following the rules of the house, correct?
All that, yes.
Okay. So I know there's more. But his main problem, I believe, is not that he is irresponsible, even though that's a serious problem, or that he's, rejecting church or whatever the case may be. His real problem is that he's scared and that he's hurt and that he's angry and he has zero idea what to do with any of it.
Mm-hmm.
I know that you said that he was in counseling. He doesn't want to go to that anymore. And so you're in a really, really difficult situation. But that's really what I would refocus back on, is helping him re-engage in both a good counselor, a therapist that does understand loss and may understand addiction as well. And I know that this is a little bit of a hammer that I have out there. And, today's weed is not what we think of weed.
Right.
Right.
And that's the difficulty.
Yes.
Like I have enough family members that are out of their minds already. And my thing is, I feel like we're not safe in our own house, and I'm just not willing to deal with it anymore.
For sure. So I want you to be able to just lay down some of those boundaries and rules with them and really be strong in them and get your support in them. Is like, drug use and living in this home do not go together. Obviously, at 17, you may need to pull out some bigger guns as far as that goes, being, like, hey, take away restrictions, restrict access.
Oh,
maybe
he doesn't listen to any of that.
for sure.
Yeah.
And he may be spinning out of control. And with all of that said, you now then can only do what you can do. And my advice is don't lose yourself because he's lost.
Right now. And that's the thing. My difficulty is that, I don't want illegal things being done in my house.
For sure.
Or exposing anyone else. Because to me, you're saying to me, I have no respect for you or the house, and I could care less. And I understand he's young. I totally get that. But my thing is that at this point, it's been warning and talking to him very gently because, I want to be Christ-centered. And
for sure, but right now, I honestly, as crazy as this sounds, I wouldn't worry about if he's Christ-centered or not because all that hurt and pain and addiction's in the way. No. Yeah, but I'm gonna sort of summon up the late great Dr. Stoops. If he's doing something illegal in your home, call the cops.
No, well, they can't do anything anymore. That's the thing. They're all my friends.
But no, listen to me. Listen. You're giving excuse why you can't do things.
Well, they talked to him already.
But I know, but whatever it takes, that's the point. Whatever it takes.
You asked the question, if you were wrong. Can you say a little more about that? What would make you think you're wrong for setting this boundary?
Oh, no, as far as asking him to leave at 18. That's the part that I don't, I just feel as though that, I've done everything that I possibly can.
Right. So where's the question of am I wrong coming from? Has someone told you that it's wrong?
I'm sure I'm going to get backlash from others who don't want to be bothered with him, but they'll have a lot to say when he's removed from the home.
So are you guys working on a plan of what to do when he turns 18?
Yeah. I've talked to him very gently and very kindly and said, look, we don't want you to leave. We want you to stay. You've been a part of my family since you were 6 months. I want you to stay, but not in this, not in these conditions.
Right. So are you okay with the choice to have him move out when he's 18, regardless of what he has? If he has a job, doesn't have a job, chooses to go to the military, has somebody else to stay with, are you going to be okay with saying you can't live here anymore? Because you've broken my trust, you've done these illegal things. I have another child to be concerned about. I need you to be prepared to leave when you turn 18. Are you okay with that?
Definitely, because I've watched what has happened when our family has enabled. And it's done nothing but I have like I said, I have a adult brother that I have to take care of because that's what was allowed in our family. And it's almost like a family curse where, you just stay and get high and do whatever you want. And, it's just whatever you feel like doing, it's fine.
Well, I agree with Chris. If you can get him back into counseling and some substance abuse treatment, that would be really helpful. The concern you have about the mental illness in the family is a valid concern. And at this stage in adolescence, his poor little brain is still trying to develop, and it doesn't do it well on weed. So if we can get him to stop smoking, at least until he's a fully grown adult with a fully formed brain, so that he can then make some fully informed decisions, that would be the best for him. But your question, am I wrong? No. I think we can all agree. No.
Yeah, and here's the other part of this, Maria. Your reaction to him is because you're tired. You're tired of doing the same thing over and over again. You have given a lot of your time, your love, your energy towards this young boy who's now 17. And you've also had loss along the way because that's how he got into your house. So then your story expands to all these other issues. You're just tired. And so what I would encourage you to do is, yes, we need to get him on a plan to move forward, whatever that looks like. But also, I think there's got to be a plan for you, whether it's you work with a coach or a counselor for self-care, as well as how do I set up my life so that people respond to me in the way that I need them to respond, as opposed to what's happening now where I have to keep saying the same thing and nothing is happening, and I'm feeling frustrated and I'm overwhelmed, and I've got a 14-year-old that I'm still having to deal with. So it's all of these things, but we want to get to a place where we can make good choices and, make the line. And if he can't respond, he's going to have some options that are going to be clear.
Yeah.
But,
and people are going to have something to say about it, because as you said, they're not going to like it.
That's
They're
right.
not going to like how it makes them feel.
That's
but
right.
They're not the ones whose home he's living in. And
That's right.
so people on, external forces tend to try to control what's going on so that they can feel good and feel okay. And I would just stay in prayer and stay close to God. It sounds like that's your source. And so that you have the strength to endure people's responses to it. Because you can't control that. People are going to respond how they respond and think what they think.
That's
but
right.
You and having the support of a life recovery group or a coach or counselor could really give you language to respond back to people, but also give you the support you need as you're walking through this and grieving yet another loss.
That's
when he
right.
goes.
That's right. I'm going to send you a copy of Boundaries. It's classic, but it also will cover all of these topics and more. Someone else that's classic. Do I dare say? Larry Sonnenberg is in the studio with us. You
I
are
like
classic.
that. Thank you.
How are you, Larry?
I'm doing good. Thank you.
Good.
Every man's battle's coming up a week from Friday. And here's what a gentleman wrote us at the conclusion when he went. And I want you guys to think about this, because I know that those of you that need this and who probably are thinking, I'm not interested in going, feel the way he felt. Coming into the weekend, I totally dreaded giving up a precious weekend to spend all that time with total strangers. I didn't want to admit or to even mention anything about my secret life. I'd been so successful at keeping it all to myself that I thought I'd carry it to my grave. But after the initial few sessions, I sensed something stirring in my soul. The chance to open up and let the dark shroud drop to the ground was such a relief. I had no idea some of the experiences from my youth could be so impactful to my present life. Now I see there's a path and a light and a way forward. I'm much more willing to take the steps I need to make to be a better man and embrace God's plan for my life as a husband and a father. You know, what a difference, dreading to go into something, spending time with people I don't know, to being so grateful that he's got a plan for his life and he's willing to take steps and do different things. You can experience that too. Call us at 800-NEW-LIFE. Talk about every man's battle. We'll be back after the break, and I'll share just a little bit more if it's okay, Becky.
Of course, we will be back. Right after.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you. Or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. You never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are. Chris Williams on coaching.
Oftentimes I get asked, what is the difference between therapy and coaching? The biggest difference between the two is that a therapist is going to be looking for a diagnosable mental health condition, whereas a coach is going to look at a particular issue and help a person work through that.
If you need a coach, call New Life today and ask about the New Life Coaching Network. Our coaches have been trained and screened with the same intensive process we use for our network counselors.
If you're looking at an issue in your life that you just kind of want to change, whether it be your weight or leadership or other areas of behavioral patterns, check out coaching. There can be some really, really helpful things for you.
Take control of your life and take action to achieve your goals. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 and talk to us about getting a new life coach. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back. We're going to continue taking calls, 1-800-229-3000. If you are on the line, please hold. Do not go away. We will help you. Larry didn't go away. How do you want to continue there, Larry?
Well, just the final words about Every Man's Battle is it's so impacting. It makes such a difference. And guys, there is a force that you're listening to that you shouldn't be that says, I don't need it. I can handle this. Leave me alone. I'll take care of it. So I just want you to take the right steps. You won't regret it.
Larry, this morning I got a phone call, and the guy heard me on another podcast, and he reached out to me and said, you had that I had mentioned that, hey, do something before you lose everything. And he says, I'm about to lose everything. That's the end of the story of addiction, is losing everything. Yeah. So don't do that. Yeah. If you're struggling, turn the page, turn the corner, make the phone call, 1-800-NEW-LIFE, get online, newlife.com, get to Every Man's Battle Workshop, sign up, don't waste time, and let's just get in there.
Amen, brother. Last thing, Becky, is we have a matching gift still going on.
Right.
And we've got about $200,000 left to go out of the 361. So we're making progress, folks. Thank you for that. Really appreciate it. But please take seriously the thought of making a gift now. And it will be doubled. And if you're thinking of a year-end gift, can you do it now? And we'll get it twice if you do it now. So just last thoughts, and thank you everybody for giving what you can.
Yeah, and you can do a gift very easily by texting the word match. You text the word match to 28950, 28950, and the match will just be so appreciative, and you're going to change somebody's life. So thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
And thank you for for all of you who are giving. We just wanted to say thank you. You're helping save people's lives. We're really grateful for that. We're going to go back to the calls, and if you are there, hold on, and we'll get to you. Right now, we're going to talk to Chad, and he's calling us from Sacramento, California. Listens on KFIA. Hi, Chad. Thanks for calling. How can we help you?
Oh, thank you. Good morning. I try to make this pretty quick because I know that helps you guys. Could have been as much as 15 years ago. I believe you guys were running Every Man's Battle content on the radio daily. And I was listening to that, and it was very helpful. I never read the book or did a weekend, but I found that the radio content was sufficient in helping me with the issues that I had from my childhood. My father had a porn addiction. My grandfather had a porn addiction. I ended up, my first time looked at porn, I think I was 5 years old. And from then on, it just was a problem. But I got saved, and I was a disabled dad at home, taking care of kids. So I was listening to the radio every day, watching programs. And then I got saved, and everything was working pretty well. So fast forward to now, 50 years old, and my wife is same wife, wonderful marriage, kids, going to be adults. Everything worked very well. That was good content, maybe. But I never read the book. I never did the weekend. And here I am now with my wife has a medical issue, so we're not having relations. And so it's been about 6 months now. And so things are starting to agitate, I guess. And one of the things I've always asked the question. So if a person doesn't go through the full program like that you guys have, there seems to be something left over with relationship issues, because I have a men's group that I go to weekly for Bible studies, but other than that, I'm still kind of isolated in my. I think most of it, I deal with it in my head. So the stuff that you work out with people, and I'm hearing over the years that the meetings kind of do end up bringing a relationship healing issue involved.
So Chad, let me jump in, bud, just because you're hitting the nail on the head, and I just want to affirm that, because our porn addictions, our sexual addictions, our acting out, it is a relationship disorder. Mm-hmm. Even technically speaking, we refer to it as an intimacy disorder, an inability or a disconnection for closeness. And so all of that energy that's inside of us goes to something else. And it has to go somewhere. You know, and the point of one of the major points of Every Man's Battle is to not just curb the behavior, although that's essential and necessary, is to figure out what's going on underneath that's driving the behavior. Whether it be our childhood wounds, which is 99% of those who go the case, whether it be, the stressors, the disconnection, the isolation, all of that. I can't encourage you enough to either make the flight or that drive down here to Orange County next weekend and get into Every Man's Battle and go through it. Your eyes will be opened more than you could ever imagine, and the clarity that you'll see will answer all the questions that you're asking us today.
And can we send them Every Man's Battle?
We sure can.
Yeah.
And, Chad, I knew that Chris was going to dive right into that, because good intentions, right? We have great intentions. We want to do better. We want to be better. And yet it takes more than just us. We are helpless in our own will, but together with others who are going to lead us in that direction, we can be better. And Chad, hold on. We're going to send you a copy of Every Man's Battle. We're also going to get you connected with information about the workshop. We do have scholarships available. We have room for anyone, for the men who want to make a difference in their life, that, you're not going to wait until next year. And I know Jacqui and Chris, we talk to so many people who there's never a good time to make that decision, right? It's because there's so many other things. How can we encourage people, whatever? Whether it's a workshop or
I would say the only good time is right now. The right now is the only good time to address the things in your life that are holding you down, holding you back, causing you pain, and keeping you in cycles of dysfunction or destruction.
And the time is going to pass, whether you're in recovery or not.
Yeah.
So you might as well use that time to recover.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than waiting and saying, I'll do it after the kids graduate, or I'll do it when so-and-so moves out, or I'll do it after this next promotion, or whatever the thing is, those are just excuses that are harming you. They're keeping you away from the thing you actually truly desire, but it's keeping the consistency of what you're already used to. It's keeping the system in place, and so you're just doing that circular dance, and that's not what you want. I hear you saying, I did the thing, I listened, I took the advice, I made the changes, but you've been white knuckling it. And so it's time to step into that community of Every Man's Battle.
And my own life is a sample size, but also the many people that I have the honor of working with. The most, or we can call it leadership. Everyone's a leader, but the most important leadership you will ever engage in is the leadership of the self, and it will be your Mount Everest.
Yes.
And whatever you do that goes beyond the leadership of the self will always be impacted by how you lead yourself.
I think that's the relationship piece as well.
Yes.
If you are not a fully integrated being, you're having a hard time connecting with other people because you're not fully connected with yourself.
Yes.
And that's, I think, something that being a part of Every Man's Battle can really help with, because you're going to get to take a look at some parts of yourself that you may have been hiding in the corner.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Chad, I hope that we will see you there. I won't see you there, but somebody from our staff will see you there. And I hope that, something we've said today has impacted you in a way forward. Thank you, Jacqui. Thank you, Chris. Callers, hold on. We're going to be right back after this break, but call us at 1-800-229-3000.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.